Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel Vigil, taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel Vigil.
I was on denversports.com this morning, and I'm sitting there, and I see a headline, and it says, the salty Broncos shouldn't be saving receipts. And I was like, well, this is a James Merilatt article. And with that, it is a Merilatt Monday, so we've got James in. I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk about your article because I do think your headline is a little misleading for how you actually finish the article.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Look, I have no problem with the fact that the Broncos are perturbed by the things being said about them. They should be.
Yeah.
If you're not upset that the over-under for your wins this year is 5.5, then you're not a competitor.
Amen.
All the things being said, and they're terrible, and they have the 32nd ranked roster. If I'm a part of that roster, I'm offended by that. I got no problem with that. What I have a problem with, and it's two people in particular that I use as examples, is Sean Payton telling us all he's got two middle fingers, which is just like, I'm ready to tell everybody off when this is.
But he says he doesn't use them anymore.
Yeah, but he's planning on it. He's waiting to. And then it was Jaleel McLaughlin on with the drive saying, and I'm keeping receipts. Listen, keeping receipts is there's no reason to be doubting you. You're just a hater, and I'm going to put it back in your face when we prove you wrong. There's no reason to believe in this team other than blind hope. There's all sorts of evidence to suggest, like, at some point, a fan base stops setting themselves up for disappointment, right? So it's been since 2015 since they went to the playoffs, 2016 since they had a winning season. They have a quarterback room that, let's just face it, they don't have a veteran with a winning record. They don't have a veteran that's thrown more touchdowns and interceptions in their career, and they have a rookie. Even if you're high on Bo Nix, he's still a rookie. Right? So there's going to be growing pains. They have a ton of question marks at almost every single position. Now, maybe they'll hit all green lights. And
it'd be amazing.
It'd be awesome. And Marvin Mims blossoms. And Lucas Kroll turns into the next
Travis
great
Kelce
pass-catching tight end in the AFC West, right? And on and on and on. Maybe. And I hope so. And I'm rooting for it as a lifelong Broncos fan. But if I don't just blindly accept that that's going to happen, that doesn't make me a hater. Don't be saving the receipt of, oh, you doubted us. Of course I doubted you. So there's no reason not to doubt you.
That's why I actually have to give some credit to James, because I read your whole article and I was like, okay, James is going to piss off people with this one. And then you got down to the bottom and it talks about, I'm not a hater. I'm just a realist, or I don't remember exactly how you phrased it. And I was like, I mean, you're right. We are just being realists. When we look at this team, there's hardly anything that's going to get you excited about this team. And yeah, that can piss off Marvin Mims, and I hope it does, or Jaleel McLaughlin, whoever it's going to be. But that's just the reality. And so I ended up agreeing with you when I totally thought I was going to read this article and go, oh, James, what are we talking about? But then I read it and he did a good job on it.
You gotta read the whole article, right? The headline is like,
although I don't think you need to call them salty.
They're salty.
That's not really.
Yeah, they are.
How are they salty? They got asked a question. It's not like they came out on Twitter and they were like, I'm keeping receipts for everyone. Like, they got asked a question.
You could just say, listen, we hear all the negativity. We're motivated by all the negativity, and we can't wait to go out there and prove people wrong. Great. No problem.
Okay, but Zach By literally asked Sean Payton about his middle fingers.
Fine.
So
I get it, but you don't have to take the bait. Just because the hook is dropped in the water with the worm on it doesn't mean you need to bite it.
Then Sean Payton's going to end up in the headlines. We all know Sean Payton loves to be in the headlines.
I just think it makes them salty. And salty's not all that bad. Like, listen, when you're a bad team, I want them to be salty. They should be salty.
Are you salty with your DMs that you get?
Sure. I mean, if I wasn't.
I pick on James way too much for him being my boss.
If I wasn't, it would be a bad thing. But they are salty. And again, that's okay. I just think there's a line to it. I think being that way privately, hey, we're keeping receipts, we're putting stuff on the billboard, here's what that Yahoo at Denver Sports said, whatever, cool. You just don't have to be public about it. Like, that just makes you look thin-skinned and kind of babyish, right? But
as Broncos country, wouldn't you much rather hear a player who's like, yeah, I'm pissed off about this?
That part I have no problem with.
Taking me off, instead of just like, yeah, we'll see.
That part of it I have no problem with. It's the receipts part of it. Because receipts is suggesting like you had no reason to doubt us. You had no reason to suggest it. trying to prove people wrong is a positive. Holding on to the receipt because I'm going to come throw it in your face because you doubted us. Like, well, of course people doubt you. If one of my kids never gets anything above a D, am I going to think he's going to get straight A's next semester? Or am I going to use history as a suggestion that, like, boy, if we got all C's, that would be great. Like, am I a doubter? Am I a realist? Am I a hater? Like, come on. It's just like there is just the facts of what's going on here. Tell me one thing on this team right now, outside of Pat Surtain, that you can look at and go, we know that's going to be really good.
Ooh.
I mean, let's go through them. Head coach, there were a lot of blunders last year. We don't have to go through them again. Quarterback, question marks. I think their offensive line is actually pretty good, so you could go with that one.
Sure.
Now, they benefited last year because they stayed healthy all year long.
Which is very unlikely.
They do have a big hole to fill in the middle. Lloyd Cushenberry wasn't great, but he also wasn't a sieve. So
and Luke Wattenberg has looked a little bit better. So that's good.
We'll see, right? Yeah. But it's a question mark. Running back, ton of question marks. Receiver, question marks. Their best receiver has shown up for a day and a half of work in the offseason. Tight end, worst tight end room in the league.
We're excited about Lucas Kroll. We are.
Why? He's got 8 catches.
But we're still excited about him.
We can be excited about him, but
we need hope.
He's got 8 career catches. That's to doubt that or to be skeptical of that is just not looking at life through orange-colored glasses.
Okay, fair. Okay.
And that's just on offense.
Move to the defensive side of things.
Like, who's going to generate a pass rush?
PJ Locke looked really good last year.
Okay, but they got to replace 2 safeties, Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons. Brandon Jones and PJ Locke could be an upgrade. It really could be.
On Justin Simmons? I don't know.
I don't think Josie Jewell's, the great middle linebacker, but who's going to replace him? Jonas Griffith? He's hurt all the time.
Yep, fair.
Cody Barton? Did you know Cody Barton was on the team? Am I even getting the name right?
Yes, you are.
Right?
You're not wrong.
There's a question mark everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those will be yeses. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them are going to be no's. And if they're no's, then it's like, okay, that's the holes you got to fill for 2025. That's fine. It's part of the process. But for me to say there's 17 big question marks on this team and they're going to go 17 out of 17,
it's unrealistic.
You're just drinking orange Kool-Aid.
But I think their over-under is like 5.5 games. Like, even if they win 6, I feel like people are just going to be like, okay, we look to the future. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like this isn't the year we're going to be disappointed. We're either going to be pleasantly surprised or we're going to say this is exactly what we expected.
But if you go 6-11 and hit the over, are you dropping a receipt on me?
No.
Right? Like, dropping receipts means go win 10 games.
We went 11-6. Like,
or go improve upon last year, right? You were 8-9 last year. You were in the playoff chase till Christmas Eve. That's a gift. We haven't had that in a while.
True.
But if you go back and look at it, like, well, 2 of those 8 wins were against the Chargers team that was quarterbacked by Easton Stick.
Yep.
He didn't start the game in LA, but he played the vast majority of it. He did start the game here.
Yep. Because Justin Herbert had his finger injured.
Are you going to get that lucky this time around?
Yeah.
Probably not. You lost the game 70-20 last year. I feel like I'm the only person in town who remembers that happened.
Yeah.
So it's just, it rubbed me the wrong way that, and as a fan, not as a member of the media, but as a fan of like, if you doubt us, we're going to prove you wrong. Great. Love to hear that as a fan.
Yep.
And then I'm going to drop receipts. Like, I should just be on board 100% with everything you're doing as a fan and not question any of it. Balderdash. Go earn that.
But also, who doesn't do that?
The receipts part, most people don't do.
No.
You don't have to say it out loud. How about Deion Sanders last year? You win the first 3 games. I got receipts. Who was doubting us? And then you go 1-8 the rest of the way.
But everybody's still on the hype train. So, like, it had no negative impact.
Not everybody. I just think
whoa, this could be.
Just go labor in anonymity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't that what the head coach said?
Yeah, that's what I believe, but
right.
Apparently things have changed.
They do the opposite of it. Like, you have no reason whatsoever to demand that people are on board with you and believe in you. You have no reason.
No.
Go provide them with one.
Yeah.
That's your mission, is to go provide people with a reason to be on board and a reason for hope.
So you're not on board with Prime right now?
Oh, well, switching to Prime? No, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be better than people think. But not everybody's on the hype train. I am.
I'm not. But what's the difference between the Broncos and Coach Prime? What has Prime done?
I don't disagree with that. That's why he shouldn't have dropped the receipts thing. That was
why are you on board then with
that?
them?
Was a silly thing to say. Well, because they've improved their roster and the
Broncos
roster's gone. No, it's gone in the wrong direction. The quarterback is worse.
I forget that you're the Russell Wilson guy.
Listen,
how could I forget that?
In the next 10 years, Bo Nix, fine. I'll buy into him. He's going to be better than Russell Wilson. 2024, who's a better quarterback, Russell Wilson or Bo Nix? Most likely.
I don't know. Russell Wilson stunk last year.
He threw 26 touchdowns.
Stunk, James.
In 14 games.
How many times
games.
were you watching and you were just like, oh no, what's he going to do where he gets himself in trouble?
I was like, man, this guy's pulling a rabbit out of his hat again.
You are such
There's just this roster.
But why was he having to pull a rabbit out of his hat? Because they sucked for 3/4 of the game.
Agreed, which is what John Elway did for 10 years. I mean, people act like that guy never had a bad game. Most of his career, he was terrible for 3/4. I mean, why do you have 47 come from behind wins? Because you were behind 47 times. I mean, if you're always in the lead, it's hard to have a bunch of comeback
wins.
I'll
give you quarterback and then safety because Justin Simmons gone. But otherwise, you don't think that this roster has improved?
Middle linebacker, I think they're worse.
I mean, but you just said it. Josie Jewell wasn't like that great of a...
Neither's Lloyd Cushenberry, but we don't know that they've upgraded there. Probably they're worse. Quarterback, they're worse. Safety, they're worse. Middle linebacker, they're worse. Those are some pretty important positions. What position's better? Receiver. Are they better with Josh Reynolds and Jerry Jeudy as the number 2 receiver? Maybe.
We're going to find out.
Probably, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Are they better at tight end?
I think so. It's such a what if.
What's
the problem?
Now,
but it's the same thing for the Buffs, though. It's like we don't actually know that who was the number 1 pick overall. I don't remember his name.
I mean, yes. Do we know that this new crop of 300-pound linemen are going to be better?
But so then
but they can't be worse.
How do you know?
Because they were like
they're still rookies.
They were like trying to carry water in a cheese grater. I mean, it was just everything went right through it.
But they're still rookies, so we don't know that they're going to be better. So what in your mind allows you to be more on board with Prime and what's going on in like CU than the Broncos?
It's and again,
both unknowns.
None of us know, but it's the influx of talent, right? Like the Broncos admitted before the free agency started, and then they proved it in free agency. They weren't going to go spend money. So who's the big up? They could have. They're under the cap. They can write whatever check they wanted to. They chose to.
Yeah, but you wait until training camp to see what you got.
Was Brandon Jones their biggest free agent signing? Josh Reynolds?
Josh Reynolds probably, and then Brandon Jones.
Okay, so those two guys could be better.
Mm-hmm.
They could be, but let's face it. None of us were circling Brandon Jones's name when the start of free agency. Like, oh, if they can get this guy.
He's the one.
And I
feel like you don't do that unless you are a like Super Bowl contender and you're like, we need the one piece. Like, who else in free agency is like, we need that guy? There's
just been a lot more players leaving than coming in. And it's fine. That's part of the rebuild. You have to purge. And was Justin Simmons the problem? No. Was he part of the problem? Probably. He certainly wasn't part of the answer.
He had some money attached to him.
You have to purge guys. I totally get that.
Yep.
But while they're going out, it takes a while for that ship to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
And to say it's going to take a while for that ship to turn around doesn't mean you're a hater that should be threatened with receipts. Like, just go do something. Go do something. And then I'll say, you know what? Great. Now I have a reason to be optimistic.
I just can't help but laugh because I've seen your Twitter where you will go back in like 2 years and repost something because you have your receipts.
I don't know. I don't think people should doubt my opinion. I've been proven right more than I've been proven wrong.
Bringing receipts to the table.
Yeah, because I think people should look at it and say, well, this guy was right about this, and this. So while I don't agree with him on this one, I don't think I should give him the benefit of the doubt. What have the Broncos done to earn the benefit of the doubt?
I mean, nothing, but that doesn't mean that they can't come back. Say they do. Say Cecil Lammy's right and they win 9 games this year. I would prove receipts too. I think you would too.
No, I think it's
if Russell Wilson goes and wins a Super Bowl, you are going to bring back that tweet so hard.
Yes.
You're going to have it plastered on a shirt.
Because I've been saying for 2 years that Russell Wilson isn't the problem.
But that's providing receipts.
Because people should have listened to me. The Broncos should have listened to me.
That's what Jaleel McLaughlin wants. He wants people to listen.
But Jaleel McLaughlin doesn't have a track record of doing it. And then I'm doubting him. And he's like, why are you doubting me? I've done this before. He doesn't.
Bo Nix has won. Some things.
Like, I guess I'm just in the camp of you have to earn the benefit of the doubt. Kind of like you have to earn
But
trust.
that's what he's saying. Is like,
right? Like,
if
should
they
I
do
blindly trust someone when I first meet them, or do they have to earn
Why not?
trust? Because then you're just a naive person.
You didn't trust me when you hired me?
No.
BS. You
Why
let me
would I-
create an entire video department, so you did.
I hoped you did it well.
Here we are.
But, you tend to keep an eye on people, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing the first week after you hire them. Then
Fair.
3 years in, it's like, she's got it.
She'll be fine.
Right? You've earned the benefit of the doubt.
I'll trust she'll show up for work.
You've earned the benefit of the doubt.
Fair.
That's how life
So what
works.
do they have to do? First month, what do they have to do to like prove something?
Win some damn games.
How many? They're not going
3.
to win ever. 3 of the 4?
What are they going to drop receipts on a 2-2 start?
It only gets worse after the first.
I mean, what's that receipt?
If they come out and go 4-0, can they drop
500
receipts?
mic drop. That's what they're going to do.
If they come out, I need to look up their schedule. If they beat Seattle, Pittsburgh,
Tampa Bay, the Jets. That's not Murderers Row. 3 of them are on the road.
if they come out 4-0, can they drop receipts?
Fine. Sure.
Okay.
I'll really worry about that. I mean, come on.
Oh my God, this episode is too funny. Our producer Trey is like dying.
I mean, listen, the chances of this team going 4-0.
I mean, you're not wrong, but if they do, they can drop receipts. You're okay with that?
Sure.
All right.
Okay, so right. If you want to play that card, and I should have put this in my column.
Yeah.
If you want to play the I'm keeping receipts card, then you better do something remarkable.
Just 3-1 count.
That's not remarkable.
Okay,
But
4-0.
for the whole
4-0.
season, if they go 11-6, if they win the AFC West, if they win on wild card weekend and they make it to the divisional round, and you want to drop receipts, fine. But don't drop receipts on 9-8.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
You're not wrong. That's embarrassing.
So they're just setting themselves up for, all right, playoff. We should all expect playoffs. That's what we should expect. And we should be mad if they don't make the playoffs. And we should call for people's jobs if they don't.
Do you think Sean Payton says at training camp this year, I'm going to be pissed if this isn't a playoff team? Or do you think he doesn't believe that?
I don't think he believes that.
I don't think anyone believes that.
No,
except Cecil Lammy.
You know what I think he truly believes? I think he truly believes he's got a lot of parts in that building that in the future will be part of a playoff team. And I don't necessarily disagree with him.
Yeah.
And
it's the rebuild.
And I do think that there could be the factor this year of like the sum is greater than the individual parts, right? Where 1 + 1 = 3 somehow.
Yep.
And that's what happens when you've got guys who don't have egos, who aren't in it for the big check.
Yep.
And, they're just like, man, we're lunch bucket guys and we're
excited
working.
to be here.
Right. Like that could very well happen.
Yeah.
That's a reason for optimism. But that's a hard thing to like just say, like, for sure that's there. That's a hope.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, going back up to Boulder, I think there's a really good chance in Boulder 1 + 1 = 1.5. Like they're going to get less. The sum of the parts is going to be is going to be less than the parts in Boulder because the roster on paper is really good, but they got to get it all to gel in like 2 months. That's tough to do.
Very tough to do. Were you going to go change your article now? You're going to add in at the very bottom, edit after coffee break.
Here's what receipts.
You have to go 4-0 and then you can give me receipts.
If you're going to threaten me with receipts, you better do something remarkable.
Perfect. All right. That is going to do it for today's episode of Coffee Break, though. Merilatt Monday. That was excellent. Had us laughing. Hopefully had all of you laughing in the comments as well. And we will see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. for another episode of Denver Sports Daily and right back here at 12 o'clock for another episode of Coffee Break. Bye, guys.